Am I the asshole for taking a job that took me away from my kids? 33 here, and I'm sitting in my empty apartment at 1 a.m. trying to figure out if the biggest career opportunity of my life was actually the biggest mistake I've ever made. 3 years ago, I made a choice that I thought would give my kids a better future. Instead, it feels like I lost them completely. Here's the situation, and I genuinely need perspective because I'm starting to question my own sanity. I'm a project manager in construction and infrastructure development. 3 years ago, I got an offer that would literally double my salary and set up my career for the next decade. The catch: the job was 4 hours away from where my kids live with their mother, my ex-wife Mallory. My daughter Reese was 13 at the time, my son Cole was 10. Mallory and I had been divorced for 2 years, but we'd managed to keep things civil for the kids' sake. I had them every other weekend and Wednesday nights, plus extended time during school breaks. It wasn't perfect, but it worked. When the job offer came up, I didn't make the decision lightly. I sat down with both kids and explained the situation honestly. This opportunity would mean I could provide better for them, help with college funds, maybe even buy a house big enough for them to have their own rooms when they visited. I know it means I won't see you as much in person, I told them, but we can video chat twice a week, and I'll drive down every other weekend just like always. Plus, you'll have longer summers with me and Christmas breaks, and this gives us so many more possibilities for the future. Reese, who was always the more mature one, said she understood. It's like when Mom had to work late shifts at the hospital. Sometimes parents have to do things for the family even if it's hard. Cole was quieter about it, but he nodded and asked if the new city had good comic book stores. I promised him we'd explore every one. The first few months went exactly as planned. Tuesday and Thursday video calls, every other weekend drives back home, extended summer vacation. The kids seemed proud when I told them about the projects I was working on, the bridges and buildings that would have my name on the permits. Then, gradually, things started falling apart. The video calls became more sporadic. They're busy with homework, Mallory would say. They have soccer practice. They're at a friend's house. When I'd call their phones directly, the calls would go straight to voicemail. Text messages would be marked as read but never answered. I figured it was just normal teenage stuff. Reese was 15 now, starting to be more interested in friends than family. Cole was 13 and going through that awkward phase where parents aren't cool anymore. But then I drove down for my scheduled weekend visit, and Mallory met me at the door instead of the kids running out to greet me like they used to. "They don't want to see you," she said, not even letting me inside. "You left them, Graham. They feel abandoned and I can't force them to pretend otherwise." "What are you talking about? I didn't leave them. I took a job to provide better for them. You chose money over being their father, they know that." I asked to talk to them directly, to explain, to work through whatever they were feeling. Mallory shook her head. "They're not ready for that conversation. Maybe give them some space." That was 8 months ago. Since then, every attempt I've made to contact my kids has been blocked. Phone calls that go to voicemail. Texts that are read but ignored. When I tried to contact the school about their grades or upcoming events, I was told there was a note in their files that the father should not be contacted. I've sent birthday presents, Christmas gifts, care packages. Everything gets delivered, but I never get so much as a thank you text. I pay child support religiously. Every month on time, often more than the court ordered. But when I've tried to use that as evidence that I'm still actively trying to be their father, Mallory just says, "Money isn't love, Graham." I consulted a lawyer about parental alienation, but he told me it would be difficult to prove since I voluntarily relocated for work. The fact that I physically moved away gives Mallory cover to claim the kids are just responding naturally to my absence. But here's what's been eating at me. I have call logs showing I tried to contact them constantly. I have receipts for every gift sent, every child support payment made early. I have documentation of every attempt to maintain a relationship that was systematically blocked. Last month, I made a decision. I moved back to town, found an apartment 10 minutes from their school, took a position with my old firm for significantly less money. If my physical absence was the problem, I'd eliminate that excuse. Yesterday, I filed a motion to modify our custody agreement. This morning, I got a text from Mallory. "Don't force this on them. They've been through enough. You made your choice when you picked money over family. But here's the thing I keep coming back to. I didn't pick money over family. I picked providing for my family over seeing them as often. I thought I was making a responsible decision that would benefit everyone in the long run. Was I wrong? Should a parent never take a career opportunity that requires physical distance? Or is something else going on here that I'm not seeing clearly? Because right now, it feels like I'm being punished for trying to build a better future for my kids, and I don't know if I'm fighting for them or fighting against them. Edit: a few people have asked about the timeline. I took the job in September 2021. Regular contact stopped around June 2022. The last time I saw my kids was December 2022. I moved back to town in October 2024. Edit 2. Someone asked about my ex-wife's situation. Mallory works as a nurse practitioner and makes decent money. She remarried last year to a guy who works in it. Financially, they're stable without needing my increased income. Update 1, posted 2 weeks ago about moving back to town to fight for custody after my kids stopped talking to me when I took a job 4 hours away. Had my preliminary hearing yesterday, and I'm starting to understand just how deep this goes. Mallory came to court prepared, not just with a lawyer, but with a complete narrative about what happened over the past 3 years. According to her testimony, I abandoned the children when I moved for work, made minimal effort to maintain contact, and only paid child support because the court mandated it. She presented our kids' behavior as a natural response to my choices. They're old enough to understand when they've been deprioritized, she told the judge. I can't force them to want a relationship with someone who chose career advancement over being present in their lives. When it was my turn, I presented my evidence. Call logs showing attempted contact every Tuesday and Thursday for 3 years. Screenshots of text messages that were read but never answered. Receipts for every birthday gift, Christmas present, and care package sent. Bank statements showing child support paid early and often above the required amount. But Mallory's attorney was ready for all of it. Your Honor, he said, Mr. Sutter is presenting a carefully curated record of attempted contact, but actions speak louder than documentation. When his children needed him physically present, he chose to be 4 hours away. When they stopped responding to his calls, instead of coming home to work things out in person, he continued trying to manage the relationship from a distance. They painted my evidence as manipulation. The early child support payments became guilt money. The documented calls became me checking boxes to build a legal case, rather than genuine attempts at connection. The judge ordered both kids to meet individually with a child psychologist, Dr. Halpern, to assess their feelings about custody arrangements. Until those evaluations are complete, everything stays as it is. Walking out of the courthouse, my mom Janice was waiting for me. Instead of support, I got a lecture. You know, honey, you do bear some responsibility here. You did choose to move away from your children. Maybe if you'd made different choices earlier, this wouldn't be happening. That conversation with my own mother felt like getting kicked when I was already down, but the real gut punch came from an unexpected source. Lisa, another parent from Reese's school, approached me at the grocery store yesterday. Graham, I've been wanting to say something for months. Reese told my daughter that you didn't want them anymore and that you started a new life without including them. She said you only send money because you have to, but that you never actually tried to visit or call. I stared at her. Lisa, I've been calling twice a week for 3 years. I've tried to arrange visits constantly. Everything gets blocked. That's not what she believes happened. Driving home, it hit me what I'm really dealing with. This isn't just about my kids being hurt by my absence. Someone has been actively rewriting the story of what happened, and my children have been living in that alternate version of reality for years. The question is, how do you fight a lie that's become someone else's truth? Edit. Several people have asked about the child psychologist meeting. Dr. Halpern will see Reese first next week, then Qley the week after. The court will review his findings before making any custody modifications. Edit 2. Someone asked if I've tried reaching out through other family members. Mallory's parents, Diane and Howard, have been completely supportive of her narrative. My attempts to contact them have been ignored. Update 2. It's been 3 weeks since my last update about fighting for custody of my kids after 3 years of blocked contact. What happened in Dr. Halpern's office yesterday has changed everything, but not in the way I expected. Reese went to her appointment with the child's psychologist first, as scheduled. I wasn't allowed in the room, obviously, but Dr. Halpern met with me afterward to get my perspective before writing his report. What he told me made my blood run cold. "Your daughter believes you abandoned them voluntarily," he said. "She's been told you decided to start fresh and didn't want the burden of children holding you back. She showed me an email that she says you sent to her mother about 6 months after you moved." An email I never sent. Dr. Halpern asked if I could provide access to my email accounts and phone records. I gave him everything: complete account histories, call logs going back 3 years, screenshots of every blocked attempt at contact. When Reese came back the next day to review the evidence with Dr. Halpern, I was allowed to be present. She walked into that office completely convinced that I'd walked away from her and Qley by choice. She had this resigned, hurt expression that broke my heart, like she'd accepted that her father just didn't want her anymore. Then Dr. Halpern showed her my call logs, hundreds of attempted calls, thousands of text messages, a pattern of contact every Tuesday and Thursday for 3 years that only stopped when numbers got blocked and changed. I watched my daughter's face change as she scrolled through page after page of evidence that I'd never stopped trying to reach her. "This can't be right," she whispered. "Mom said you never called. She said you were too busy with your new life." Dr. Halpern pulled out printed copies of the email she'd shown him, the one where I supposedly said I couldn't handle being a father anymore, that I was better off without the responsibility. "Can you show me this email in your father's account?" he asked. Of course she couldn't because I never wrote it. The metadata showed it had been created on Mallory's computer, sent from a fake account that mimicked my email address but was off by 1 letter. Something you'd only notice if you looked carefully. Reese stared at that printout for a full minute without saying anything. Then she looked at me with an expression I'll never forget. "Dad, how long have you been trying to call me?" "Every Tuesday and Thursday for 3 years, sweetheart, plus weekends, holidays, your birthday, any day I thought you might need me." She started crying. Not sad crying, angry crying. That evening, she went home and confronted Mallory directly. I know this because she called me at 11 p.m., the first phone call I'd received from either of my kids in 3 years. "Dad, what the hell did Mom do to us?" Through tears and anger, she told me what happened when she asked Mallory about the fake email and the blocked calls. Mallory panicked, then got defensive, accusing me of manipulating the evidence and turning Reese against her. She kept saying you were just trying to cause problems, that you'd been calling her names and threatening her, and that's why she had to protect us. "But Dad, I saw the call logs. You never called her. You only tried to call me and Qley." Qley overheard the argument. Instead of joining the confrontation, he locked himself in the bathroom for an hour, then asked to spend the night at his grandparents' house. "He's not ready to hear this yet," Reese said. "This is going to destroy him. He's believed Mom's story longer than I have." At midnight, Reese asked if she could come stay with me. I drove to the house immediately, the first time I'd seen my daughter in almost 2 years. She hugged me in the driveway and said, "I'm so sorry, Dad. I'm so sorry I believed her. Why didn't you tell me what really happened?" "I tried, sweetheart. Every call that got blocked, every text that went unanswered, I was trying." This morning, Mallory filed an emergency motion claiming I'm manipulating the children and demanding Reese be returned to her custody immediately. The hearing is next week. Edit. A lot of people are asking about Qley's reaction. He's staying with his grandparents right now and hasn't wanted to talk to anyone. Not me, not Mallory, not even Reese. Dr. Halpern says this kind of response is normal when a child's entire understanding of reality gets shattered. Edit 2. For those asking about the fake email, yes, we have forensic evidence. The metadata shows it was created and printed from Mallory's home computer, never actually sent through any email system. It was just a document made to look like an email. Final update. It's been 2 months since I discovered my ex-wife had been systematically alienating my children from me for 3 years using fabricated evidence and manipulation. The custody hearing ended last week, and I wanted to close this out properly because the resolution taught me something important about justice, family, and what it really costs to do the right thing. Dr. Halpern's report was devastating for Mallory's case. He documented clear evidence of parental alienation, including the fabricated email, the blocked communications, and what he called systematic psychological manipulation designed to destroy the parent-child relationship. At the hearing, I presented everything. The fake email with metadata showing it was created on Mallory's computer, 3 years of call logs showing blocked attempts at contact, screenshots of text messages that were read but never answered, and documentation that the school had been instructed not to contact me about my own children. Mallory's strategy was to double down on victimhood. She cried, told the judge she was protecting the children from abandonment, and that she was scared I would disappear from their lives completely. I was trying to shield them from more disappointment, she testified. He'd already chosen his career over his family. I couldn't let him keep hurting them with false promises. Her attorney argued that the fake email was a miscommunication and that blocking my calls was justified because I was harassing the family. Then, the judge asked to speak with Reese. My 17-year-old daughter walked into that courtroom with a maturity that both impressed and broke my heart. She looked directly at the judge and said she wanted to live with me full-time. Your Honor, my mother spent 3 years convincing me and my brother that our father didn't want us. She showed us fake emails, blocked his calls, and told us he was too busy with his new life to care about us. I believed her because she's my mom, and I trusted her to tell me the truth. Reese never looked at Mallory during her testimony. When I found out she'd been lying, it didn't just hurt because I'd lost time with my dad. It hurt because she taught me not to trust my own father. She made me think I wasn't worth fighting for when he'd been fighting for me the whole time. The judge asked about Cole, who still wasn't ready to choose sides but also refused to live with Mallory after learning about the deception. He's staying with our grandparents right now, Reese said. He's in therapy, and Dr. Halpern says he needs time to process everything. But he wants to start having phone calls with Dad again. The court's ruling was more comprehensive than I'd hoped. I got primary physical custody of Reese, effective immediately. Mallory was granted supervised visitation only, pending completion of parenting classes and therapy. Cole would remain with his grandparents temporarily, with a gradual reunification plan that would let him rebuild his relationship with me at his own pace. The judge also ordered Mallory to pay increased child support to reflect the new custody arrangement, which seemed to shock her more than losing custody did. But the most important moment came after we left the courthouse. My mom, Janice, who had spent months telling me I was partly to blame for this mess, pulled me aside. I owe you an apology, she said. I heard what Reese said in there about how the lying affected her. I never understood how serious this was. I thought you were just having typical divorced parent problems. Mom, she stole 3 years of my children's lives. She made them believe I didn't love them. I know that now. I'm sorry I didn't believe you sooner. That night, Reese and I ordered pizza and sat in my apartment, her apartment now, talking until almost midnight. She asked me about the job I'd taken, why I'd made that choice, whether I regretted it. I regret how it was used against us, I told her. But I don't regret trying to build a better future for you and Cole. What I regret is not fighting harder when the blocking started, not recognizing what was happening sooner. You couldn't have known, she said. Mom was really good at making her lies seem believable. She had answers for everything. 3 weeks later, Cole sent me a text. Can we talk? Just us. No lawyers. We met at a park near his grandparents' house. He was quiet for most of the conversation, but toward the end, he asked the question that mattered most. Dad, did you really try to call us all those times? Every Tuesday and Thursday for 3 years, buddy. Plus your birthday, Christmas, any time I thought you might want to talk. He nodded, looked at his hands, and said, I want to try again. Slowly. Yesterday was our first official visit, just a few hours at the arcade, nothing heavy, just spending time together. He's still processing everything, still working through the anger of realizing he'd been lied to. But he hugged me when I dropped him off, and that felt like a beginning. Winning custody didn't give me back the 3 years I lost with my children. It didn't undo the damage of them believing I'd abandoned them, or repair the trust that was broken by someone who was supposed to protect them. But it did something more important. It gave us the chance to build something real moving forward, based on truth instead of manipulation. For anyone dealing with parental alienation, document everything, never stop trying, and remember that the truth has a way of surfacing eventually. It might take longer than you want, cost more than you expected, and hurt worse than you imagined. But your kids deserve to know you fought for them, even when they couldn't see it happening. Edit. A lot of people have asked about Mallory's reaction to losing custody. She's appealing the decision and has started therapy as ordered by the court. Reese has chosen not to have contact with her right now, which is her decision to make. Edit 2. For those asking about my career, I'm working for my old firm again at about 60% of what I was making at the distant job. It's been worth every penny lost to have my daughter home and my son slowly opening up to having a relationship again.